Is it true that Adam and Eve were immortal before the original sin? Then Tomic's answer based on a confirmation of DOM, and yes, he was immortal. But the Church says nothing more. To us to search. A theologian is someone who tries to make this faith as intelligible as possible. The reference being given. What could have happened? Well, we can reconstruct easily through the story of another young woman who was immaculate in her conception. It means who received the same grace as Eve. It's about the Virgin Mary. Except that Eve at one time refused this grace to be free, while the Virgin married, all her life, wanted only one thing, to obey God, to love Him with all his heart. So that she has reached the end of her life with this original grace without having ever betrayed. And therefore all the consequences that there was. Marie is thus, said the Vatican Council, to the new Eve. She was therefore immortal. In what way is she immortal? Absolutely not in the sense that she could not be killed. We can see it well, his body is the same as us. It is a biological body. She was immortal according to, in this precise sense, and in the same way as Jesus. First, angels protected his life from all accidents. Jesus, in fact, gave up this protection at a given moment. And when Peter wanted to draw the sword to defend it, he said, "Do you not believe that my Father can send 12 legions of angels to protect me?" Secondly, a presence of God so strong that it harmonizes all its being. Her psychology, to the Virgin Mary, is completely in obedience to her soul, without weakness, and her body is in full health. Only his body is biological like the body of Eve, and therefore it is a body that grows, matures, ages. What happened to the Virgin Mary? At the moment that God has chosen, He has carried it to heaven like that, except that the Virgin Mary, wanting to give the path of all her children, to agree to die. It must be said that she had been shattered internally by the death of her son. Eve and Adam, if he had not sinned, at the right time, God would simply have taken them to heaven by assumption. By assumption, that is, He carries them into the other world and glorifies their bodies. He puts on glory without having to go through death. It should be noted that this thing of the Assumption is promised by St. Paul to the last generation who will live on earth. It will not need to pass by death, says St. Paul. It is in the first letter to the Corinthians chapter 15 to its 151. I will tell you a great mystery, we will not all die, but we will all be transformed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, to the sound of the final trumpet, for it will sound with the trumpet. And the dead will rise again. And hence those who are already dead, and we who are still alive on earth will be transfigured.